Sorry. All right. So, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Trailblazers. So, join us again for the insightful week 3 of the lecture series and the pitching competition, or also known as the LSPC 2023. So, this morning, we will feature a distinguished professional at the forefront of innovation, finance, and strategic management with an impressive array of certifications and expertise. Our speaker is a Certified Innovation Professional, CIP by GIMI, and a Registered Financial Consultant of RFC by AIRFC, demonstrating a versatile skill set in both innovation and financial advisory. Our guest holds the esteemed title of a certified fintech professional, showcasing expertise in the intersection of finance and technology. Now, coupled with a master's in innovation and business at MIB by AIM, emphasizing a profound understanding of business innovation strategies as the founder and consultant of Ignite Minds Strategic Management. Our guest speaker brings a wealth of practical experience and visionary leadership, driving strategic initiatives that ignite innovations and foster business growth. Furthermore, our guest speaker also served as the corporate secretary and chairman of OROBEST, business development within the Oro Chamber of Commerce, displaying a commitment to community-driven business development and a profound dedication to advancing corporate governance practices. Trailblazer, prepare and listen into a dynamic discourse led by our guest speaker, no other than in the person of Mr. Luzmar Gabor, where innovation, finance, and strategic management converge to illuminate the pathways toward impactful business transformation and sustainable wealth. Once again, help me welcome, and it's my honor and privilege to introduce the person. The person I'm referring to is no other than Mr. Luzmar Gabor. Sir, the virtual floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Kirby. And it's a great privilege to actually join you once again here. I just got back from my Manila flight. We arrived somewhere midnight. So when I'm flying again later tonight to Iloilo to join the TBI Summit. No, it's been a busy week. It's almost December, and maayong Pasko sa inyong tanan diha. Thank you, Sir Jogs, for the opportunity to share this morning. And thank you, Jerby, for that very, very generous introduction, actually. I'm here to let's do this as a bit of a sharing, considering the limited time that we have. But I'm really open since you're gonna do your own pitch moving forward. So the 1 hour that we have here is quite short to cover everything, but we'll be covering the basics actually to hopefully set the right kind of mindset leading you towards your pitch, right? And hopefully the insights and inspiration gathered here will be of use moving forward. And at this juncture, if you would allow me to quickly share my screen, Jerry, are we good? All right. I'm hoping you're seeing the screen right now. Can I get a quick thumbs up, please, if it's good? Perfect. Thank you so much. So the title of this very quick talk will be Navigating the Financial Landscape for you, for you technopreneurs as you move on towards your pitch day. But nonetheless, allow me to set the right kind of mindset for you. I always do believe in this one, that the best way to predict the future is what? To create it. And that's what we're actually doing today. We wanted to create this this pathway, this momentum towards that pitch day of yours. And hopefully the insights again gathered here makatabang sa inyo moving forward, right? So let's as what Dr. Stephen Covey would always say, always begin with the end in mind. So quickly, what I'm gonna do now is I'll share with you one of my favorite pitch decks actually during by a startup who's actually have scaled up already and is very successful in this landscape. So I'm sure you're very familiar simply because also my startup business model is also somewhat related to this one. So I'd like to share this perspective for you to actually have some insights moving forward. All right. So this is an actual revised pitch deck. I'm sure you would know what this logo probably is. I'm not quite sure if you know it. Anybody would like to guess on the chat box or would like to open their mic to get a wild guess what this one is all about before we jump into the financials? I'm sure Sir Jogs would know. Am I still live? Jerby, are we okay?
Yes, sir. Audible po.
Perfect. So what I'm going to be sharing with you is a quick pitch deck lang for you to take a look at how the storyline is going to be simply because all of these will be related towards your financial build-up. All right. So if this is good, anybody would like to get a wild pitch again kung unsa ni siya nga company? Wala, good. Sige. I love this. I had several experiences already with this company. This is actually Airbnb, right? And I'm sure you have also, if you're a traveler, you would probably have experienced the kind of service that they offer. So they don't have hotels. They're saying na book rooms with locals rather than hotels. That's one of their pitches, actually, as they say. So quickly lang, just to give you a perspective, leading towards our financials, it's very important again to align your financials and everything in it towards the problem that you're solving, right? They say that no easy way exists to book a room with a local or become a host. So that's why the need for this one, no? What they're also pitching is simply this one. Price is an important concern for customers booking or traveling. I often travel, so yeah, price is a concern for me. How about you? Presyo ba is a concern for me, which will lead us to financials later as we talk about price, no? Naba mo'y concern on price mo biyahe mo or would you just love staying in a five-star hotel, whatever that may leave you? So hotels would actually leave you, as they say, disconnected from city life and culture. No, there was this opportunity I had travel somewhere in Boston and we stayed in an Airbnb. So we took the closest near areas like Harvard or MIT. And the Airbnb there was a very perfect strategic location for us to experience the locality. We will just walk around, no? Very easy and very accessible at that time. So if you're a traveler, makasabot ka sa importance ani nga butanga. So as we move on very quickly, this is just a big context of what we're gonna share with you very quickly now. So ingon sila, the solution that they're providing, I would like you to take a look at how they presented it because you might have a cue on how to present your pitch moving forward. They say na they're a web platform where users can actually rent their spaces to host traveling, right? So the value proposition says save a lot of money for the travelers. They make a lot of money for the host, and more importantly, culture is shared, right? When I first saw this, I go, wow, nindot kay nga value prop, no? Very simple and yet very, very clear. That's the solution that they're offering. Now, again, they're a web platform, no, where users can actually rent spaces to host travelers. I'm planning to do this very soon and go into the Airbnb space with one of our properties, hopefully. Now they're saying that ilang market validation. You're familiar with couch surfing, right? There are about 630,000 of those on temporary housing, and There are also 17,000 listed in Craigslist. So when they did this in San Francisco and New York, very clear that there is really a market for this one because people would love to experience culture nga, and so on and so forth. They also define their market size. You're also familiar with Tam Sam Som, right? So very clear sa ila what the total available market is, 1.9 billion. Again, the reason why I'm sharing this is dapat align sa inyong financials later. The 532 million serviceable market and their beachhead market, which is 10.6 million, no, related to the Airbnb trips. Here's just a quick snapshot of what the product is this time. They can search by city. There's listing, and you can simply book it. Now, this is what's important thing as we move on to the financials. Look at how they presented their business model. Right? They're saying very simple lang kailang business model. We take what? 10% commission on each transaction. Is that straightforward or straightforward enough? Simple lang kayo, no? For every transaction, they get 10%. So when they did their assumptions or projections, they computed how many trips with Airbnb. This is just 15% of the entire market, right? 84 million US dollars they projected. And then for each of the trips, the average fee is about 25 US dollars. Therefore, way back in back in 2011, this gave them a projected revenue of what? 200 million US dollars. 2011, so it's about 12 years ago. Karon, post-pandemic, they're recovering and they're bringing back this traction once more. Simple na kayo nga math, right? Multiply the average fee versus the total trips acquired. So that's what they get, 200 million projected revenue. Okay, it doesn't have to be complicated, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. If you're doing some pitch moving forward, doesn't have to be that. So their market adoption, they have these other stuff, no? They've participated in Oktoberfest and other of those activities just to market their services. So if you take a look at the market landscape, you'd see Airbnb there at the right topmost side of the chart in terms of affordability and in terms of online traction, right? All the rest are down there. So lastly, their competitive advantage, their first to market, ease of use, profile, incentives, the brands, and so on and so forth. Now, this is a very important deck as you pitch your startups to potential investors, right? Since magsugod man ta sa atong negosyo moving forward. This is just a 12-month financing to reach an 80,000 transaction, which they did before, long time ago. They would be needing 500,000 angel round investment opportunity to reach this much transaction, the 80,000 transaction. And this will bring them to what? A 2 million revenue, projected revenue over 12 months. Now, ladies and gentlemen, why am I sharing this very quick perspective with you? One of the simplest business model I saw is the model of Airbnb. And at the end of the day, as we move on to our financials, it's very important to understand where all of these would come in. Ang financials formula mga god is very, very straightforward, very, very simple, right? It just simply look like this. Revenue minus expense equals margin, right? And when you talk about revenue, these are the assumptions that you actually need to build in order to hit a certain goal. Like in their case, 15% of the market, the 84 million, right? And the expenses are all the related assumption, the cost, marketing, cost of acquisition. Later on, we're going to be discussing more of that, and that will lead you to margins, right? Kung sabay niyong gusto, is it a positive margin or a negative margin? If anyone is still around, what would you want? Is this a negative, supposed to be a negative number or a positive number? Dapat positive ang inyong margins at the end of the day, right? So these are the important metrics that we need to understand. Actually, diri pa lang will end our discussion already, no? It's very important for you to understand this. So as we move on, let me just quickly give you an example. Why am I saying this in dollars? Because later on, as you do your pitch, like in our case, we're doing pitching for fundraising for a startup. We usually project it in dollars. There are those investors that are looking at in terms of this metric. So the assumption here is that, again, going to the simple math that we have, no? There's a $30 average spend, no? So what does this math tell us? No, kung natay 1,000 nga revenue na acquire, unya gaspend taog $30 average, how much is our number of customers? Therefore, simple math would tell us it's 33. We simply divide $1,000 divided by 30. That would give us 30 customers. The end of the day, why am I talking in terms of customers, ladies and gentlemen? Kaya ang negosyo nato, if we don't have this line na customers, salig lang tag funding, we will not have traction moving forward, no? So very important, very critical that we know how much are we getting on a buy customer later on. There's such a thing as customer acquisition cost, which we're gonna go into a deep dive in a little while. But nonetheless, nasabtan ba ninyo ni siya nga simple mathematical assumption? Clear ba so far? So when we calculate our total revenue, we do it the other way around, no? Do you have your number of customers, 33? How much are they how much are they spending? 30. That will give you a revenue of 1,000. Simple mathematics. And how I wish our accounting 101 was taught this way before, no? Medyo gi-complicate pa nila. So if we look at let's say a 2-year projection now, in terms of revenues and average spend and total customers, you would see here that as you acquire more customers from 33 to 167, and then they would have differences in their spend, musaka pud actually ang imuhang revenue, right? So in the event that we have multiple revenue streams moving forward, we would break actually these into this kind of revenue model moving forward as well, no? So tanawon ninyo, there's actually a cost also behind getting the revenue. Of course, di ba? Unsa man ni siya nga mga cost? Can you identify what these costs are? On the screen right now, you would see acquisition costs, definitely. There's a cost to acquire each of these customers. Another one would be cost of goods sold. This is the cost that you incur when you build on your products and services. And of course, you have your operating expenses. What are your operating expenses, by the way? Gasto nimo sa imuhang admin, no? Gasto nimo sa imuhang transpo, your internet access, all of those, pasweldo nimo, all of those will be in your operating cost. So let's now clear ba ni siya nga component? So in order for us to gather this revenue, there's also cost involved along with it. And we should be very conscious about each of these line items, these line costs. Acquisition cost. Sir Jogs, any example of the potential startup that they're building right now? Para atong kinsa kay unsa nga startup ang inyong nahuna-hunaan? Anyone?
There is one, si Nanotech. You're familiar with Nanotech?
Nanotech. So what's
Yeah.
it's all about?
It's about water filtration systems. So they're selling water filters
Okay. Okay.
for far-flung communities.
Okay. Good thing that you've mentioned about far-flung communities, right? When you
Yeah.
say far-flung communities, let's just say in Cagayan de Oro City. When you say far-flung community, I would presume that would be farthest barangays, no, from
Yeah.
here. We have Tignapuluan, we have it's the farthest. I
Like
forgot the barangay outside of Tignapuluan.
Balubal,
Balubal, okay, those kinds of barangays. Lagyo
even
na
those
siya from your major hub.
yeah.
And there are costs involved in that one. Part of it would be your logistics cost. That would be part of your how to acquire your customers, right? Pag abot ni mo dito sa Balubal, di man ka pwede nga maglingkod-lingkod lang. You need to talk about that water filtration system and how to demonstrate it, how to have a buy-in sa community about it. Others would say, mahal na, no? And all of those stuff. So that is going to be part of your acquisition cost. Of course, your cost of goods sold is how you build on that water filtration, no? Daghan man na siya components. Medyo complex na siya in terms of filtration. The last time I've checked, the cost for that one is kanang full filtration system. Gamay ray half million to 1 million na cost of goods sold, no? In producing that one. And please remember that you also need to spend for sweldo sa mga tao nga gadto dito. That will be part of your operating cost. And what else? All the other admin stuff that's going to be part of your operating expenses. And these are very critical. So when you do your projections moving forward, although in this example, the revenues are 10xing, no, from 1,000 to 10,000. So as the cost, musaka po na siya. But what's important, later on, you would see in the last slide, we call this mga driver fees na to. Muna siya ang what we need to leverage kaya dapat paubso na to moving forward as we build on the revenue. Okay. All right. Just a quick example of our cost of goods sold, no? There's a percentage to revenue. Again, we cannot cover everything here, but we just need to take a look at the basics. Let's be very conscious about the cost of sales. What have you noticed here in terms of cost of sales or cost of goods sold in terms of percentage? Nisaka ba siya? Ninaog ba siya?
Decreasing.
It's decreasing, right? So that's the goal that we have in our business. Dili siya dapat gapasaka ang imuhang cost of goods. So this is one thing that could leverage you in terms of increasing your bottom line moving forward. So if imo ning na manage imong cost of goods sold by, for example, going back to the filtration business, when you purchase in bulk in terms of inventory for parts and everything, makatipid ka in terms of the volume purchases, and that's where you could lower down your cost of sales there, no? In this example, from 35%, hinaog siya 32%. Is that a significant factor in terms of the 3%? Dako na ba na kayo? Yes, dako na kayo na in the long term if you're talking about millions of dollars or millions of pesos ng expenses or cost of goods sold or revenues, right? So again, the important line here to take note is when we do our business, kini siya, dapat ato ning consciously ipanaog, right? Through efficient operation, so on and so forth. Okay, that's one thing we can do. If that's clear, kung taas kayo ang imuhang revenue, okay, you might have gone to $100,000 US, but your cost of goods sold is also going up together with it. Unsa may effect ana sa bottom line ni mutako mo gamay. Mo gamay, di ba? Because saka man ang imuhang cost of sales, right? So is this clear? We're talking about kung sa financial statements pa ni, we're just in the income statement part where we're not going to be touching even on the balance sheet if it doesn't matter that much kung bago pa kayo mo nga negosyo. So income statement and cash flow is very critical. Okay, so very important to take note of COS or cost of goods sold, which is dapat mapareduce na to moving forward. Another thing, if we move to the next slide, is take a look at your expenses, right? Very critical. Your margins will be dependent on how you manage your expenses. Okay, most of the common expenses are actually salaries, operating expense salaries. Now, these are compensations sa mga staff, sa mga contractors, all the benefits and bonuses that they should be having. If you're a startup, the Department of Labor normally asks at least one ka-employee na ka-register dito sa DOLE. At least isa sa inyo. While the others are doing this part-time initially, there should be one na doing this full-time. Otherwise, lisod again to sustain the business moving forward. Other expenses would include what? Rentals, office costs. In our case, what we did, since we are incubated in Makati, we do have an office in Makati, but fortunately, that office is given to us for free for about a year. So, dako na siya. Office in Makati would with all the access of the facilities there, gamay ray 10 to 15,000 anak per month, right? Also, we did a virtual office para for transactions here sa business development office sa Chamber of Commerce. We're one of the first few startups who's doing that here. And I believe you have that at CDO Bytes also. I think you're moving into virtual offices. So that could be one key item na makatabang o reduce sa inyong rental office. Okay, most of us are working at home anyway, but you need to have a clear business address for business permits, registration, so on and so forth, right? Another expense would be if you're into software or app. So software and services. These are technically recurring services money. If you're talking about software, most likely you're gonna be spending also on internet connectivity, right? What else? In our case, Google Suite. We're spending a bit of that one, but free me on other aspects like Microsoft, AWS, and other stuff. Those are items na makatabang for your startup as you are building your business. So what's critical in your expenses and everything else actually that are there, no? Including what do you call this? Engineering costs and so on and so forth, is to also bring that down. Otherwise, munaog po ng inyong bottom line. In this example, this is a realistic projection. Year 1 and year 2, normally you would have a negative bottom line. Why? Because you're building up your business. Wala pa kayo mo'y traction from a top line. When I say top line, guys, that's your revenue. Bottom line, that will be your net income or margin. So in this example here, negative pa until year 2. Correct? Kaya build pa man mo og sa inyong business. And this is more of a realistic picture. So what I'm saying here is when you do your projections, do not present your business like a super bloated income na year 1 pa lang, year 2 pa lang. Realistically, that's not the case. Just like any other business, first year, second year, you'd be blessed ng a third year naka-traction na mo to fourth year moving forward. But in your first, second year, you're still building on your traction. You would probably be needing more cash flow. That's why raising funds is also very critical. So those are key items to take note on. I hope klaro ni siya? Clear? I hope I'm making sense. Now, this will be the last slide. And we're gonna be opening up the floor for some questions para we can answer you on a very practical way on how you're gonna be presenting your startup moving forward. If you look at the slides, actually, These are very simple slides, right? And nothing complicated there. In this example here, you would see on the left side, these are the key assumptions or key drivers nimo to move your business moving forward. Number one is spend per customer, or what we call as um, the cost, or CAC, no? Cost of acquiring customers. Should be very conscious of that one. If you're able to reduce it, that will be a very good thing for your bottom line, for your net margin in this example here. So this is a simple income statement that you're saying. Another one is your marketing. Cost per acquisition. CPA is cost per acquisition. So this one increases actually. In reality, this one increases as you expand your market. Initially, your beachhead market or your initial market would be Cagayan de Oro. As we move forward, it could be the entire Misamis Oriental, Northern Mindanao, so on and so forth. Now, in our case, we also started here in Cagayan de Oro. This is our beachhead market. Not Manila, but here. Kaya easy man to kind of implement things here. We have lots of collaboration, including our collab with USTP. You should be leveraging on that one. But the third item, the driver fees, which is part of your cost of goods sold, kanang cost in developing your products and services, that should be going down as you go. That means you are getting better, you are getting efficient on how you do your business. No? So there should be something that's going down. While all the others are going up, expenses, acquisition cost, spend per customer, ang imuhang driver fees should be going down kay mas nakabalo naman ka on how to leverage on this one. I hope that's clear. And this is something that we should take a look at our financials moving forward. Now, there's a question here by Sir Jogs. No, why is marketing cost increasing over time? Good question. As we say, I think I've answered it a while ago na as you move into markets, you would be acquiring more customers. Na siya spend per customer. Again, ga dako na siya, probably na kay mga gimmick on freebies. Others are putting in their business model na freemium. You cannot stay freemium forever, di ba? At some point, you need to, just like typical example, one of the startups there who's doing POS, dinala na ko i-mention ng ngalan. But what we suggested on their business model is that ang ilahamangong freemium, free nga services is almost the same as what they're actually offering. So if I'm the customer, why would I upgrade to the next level, di ba? So what we did is, what we told them, offer mo og free, just enough para kanang makapture ninyo ang kanang customer and then lead them to upgrade to a paid account or paid subscription, which they did. And then automatically, their revenues actually had a significant increase. If they did not do that, my God, wala sila daghan sila customers ma-acquire, pero most of these are free customers, right? Be very conscious about that. Another thing that we suggested with that startup was that they provided they had a very huge inventory level, okay, because they were buying in POS and then deploying the POS later on for their corporate clients. So the high level of POS in their inventory actually brought down their cash flow. So when they did maintain a very short or very just-in-time level of POS inventory, na-manage nila better ilang cash flow. And they're able to do this, gigamit nila for more customer acquisitions moving forward. So if you notice, sa question ni Sir Jogs, nganong gasaka siya over time, expand man ang imuhang kwan. But again, be very conscious about imong percentages. Dili siya mo tawag ani mo saka nga to the levels of what's your usual or average nimo nga marketing CPA or your spend per customer or customer acquisition cost. correct? Again, driver fees are key here. Along the way, you'd be able to manage bringing down your operating expenses and your spend per customer as you're getting enough traction. So, kining mga line items here on your key assumptions, normally on your first 3 to 5 years, they're on an upward trajectory, but the driver fees should be going down. Okay, so this is a simple, straightforward illustration of how your financial should be. And if I were the investor, I would be taking a look at this one on how you are getting traction on a month on month, on a year on year. If you're not able to show this very clearly to me, why should I be investing in your startup, right? Especially just a quick ano lang, ad lang, medyo out of the ano to, pero we're looking at building our own accelerator program at the chamber, and that means we are going to be investing in startup companies, especially coming from USTP, and we do hope to see these metrics, no, as we move forward. I'm not going to be discussing about NPVs anymore and net present values and IRRs and the other metrics that investors will be looking at. I reserve that for another ano siguro discussion point. Kaya medyo madugo to siya when we do the computation, although of course there's a way to do that easier in Excel, would be faster. But cash flow is another item that we should be taking a look at next to this one. At this juncture, I'd like to open the floor for questions. If you do have one, I've been talking for the last 45 minutes. Maybe na may mga questions on how we build on this one, right? If you go back again, let me just go back quickly to the business model of Airbnb. Very straightforward man ang iyahang gibuhat, di ba? Kini siya, kini nga slide, the 10% commission, okay, appeal man siya ang revenue model. It's simply 10% over transactions. Along the way, they have marketing costs. They do advertise. They do close mga mga balay and set them up for an Airbnb setting. In that specific house na we stayed at Boston, ng iyahang balay, naka-digital keypad na. Similarly, when we did in Australia, nga na pod, bilin-bilin na lagyabi. So wala ni hassle. You don't need to see the owner face to face. You just need to key in those codes, leave whatever is behind, and make sure na play go ta, di ba? When we go into that house, we leave it as how we first saw it, no? That's the basic rule of thumb. Otherwise, ma-charge ta na, like one of the friends I had, ipasagdan lang nila all the garbage and everything's there. They were actually charged, and that's an additional probably revenue for that Airbnb. But nonetheless, what we're saying here is you don't have to get to that point. Very straightforward, 10% commission, multiply the average fee by the total number of transactions, you get your revenue. If you go back here to what we simply projected, okay, in this specific slide, it's here, no, sa top line, sa revenue. They're getting 1,000 to 1 million towards year 4. But along the way, their spend per customer also increases, the average spend per customer as they build on the business. Na agad gasto to acquire customers. If you're a portal, okay, it doesn't mean the people will automatically flock to you, di ba? Uy, I have a very nice portal here now which can help or solve problems like providing services on kanang electrical services o kanang para sa mga balay. You need to market, you need to acquire customers, you need to acquire those service providers to be in the portal, and that's part of your acquisition cost and part na sa imuhang marketing cost. Therefore, as you acquire customer, na siya spend pod. Any questions at this point? I hope I'm making sense, making things simple. It doesn't have to be complicated again. The reason why we're showing you earlier the Airbnb model, because that's the simplest that I can share with you. Others manggod would put in revenue models nga daghan kayo, walay focus ang uban. Just focus on one. In their example, it's very critical. 10% over the entire transactions, right? Questions at this point, ladies and gentlemen? I do hope we're able to give you bits of insights, but nonetheless, I'm opening up for a probably a separate workshop on a more advanced way to approach this, no, especially for techno students who are building their pitch decks moving forward. Very critical that you are able to deliver the message very, very clear. As simple as how Airbnb did it. Okay, it doesn't have to be complex. Again, let me just quickly review. They define the problem, the solution, their value proposition, and saving money for the customer, making money for the host, plus shared culture. Kanay katulo. They have the platform, right? They have the market validation. The market is there, definitely. And when they did their market sizing, they have a clear beachhead of 10.6 million based on the available trips. They did a walkthrough of their product. This is what we call as a wireframe of ang ilahang what's in stored for the customers, how they're gonna be navigating through it. The business model is pretty simple. 10% over transactions, and they just place their what do you call this? Ang ilahang competitive advantage over the others, and they made a pitch on how much investment they'll be needing moving forward. Okay. Quick rule of thumb: in your pitch deck, it's important for you to do the ask, no? Ang uban manggod gahimo-himog pitch deck pero walay ask. Your ask could be probably help you develop more your products, or your ask could be to get more funding for your startup, so on and so forth. But make sure klaro kayo na siya from your end. So I hope this one was insightful for you. I hope I wasn't talking very fast, but nonetheless, I'm opening the floor for questions. Again, my company that I do enable for startups and MSMEs, later on I'll have a KMME Go Negosyo consulting with MSMEs in the Visayas area. They would be needing on their business improvement plan before I travel again to Iloilo. So, Sir Jogs, thank you for the opportunity to share.
I will not let you go. So
Dili pa.
I have a lot of questions. No?
Go ahead, sir.
I start the ball rolling. Actually, it's quite a bibitin siya. No? I mean, I know that we have more in the next phase. No? But my question lang, Sir Bimbo, is this for the benefit of the students is when they do their pitch, especially in the financial, what are the essentials that they're going to show in the slide? Will it be the one you've shown, the projections versus the cost of goods, then minus the expenses, then we have the income? Would that suffice pa when they try to present it in the pitch? Or what
Good
are
question.
the essentials ba that the students
Good
can
question, actually. Remember, your pitch could only be 5 minutes. Sometimes it's extended to 10 minutes. Presenting all of the financials, actually, katong income statement, so on and so forth, might eat up a lot of time. So it's very important that you just present the top line numbers during your pitch. By top line numbers, for example, how top line it is. Let me go back. Let me go back to this slide here. Sorry. This one. As simple as this one, right? I know, sorry. This is investment. As simple as this business model slide. It's technically just one slide, but it already tells you the story of your business projection moving forward. The reason why I chose this is simple na mo kayo siyang analogy. So you have so that therefore data is also very important, no? Although assumptions are there, but data should be put there. Kining 25 average fee na ni siya ginapanggalingan. Dito ni siya gikan sa imuhang cost of goods sold, sa imuhang financials which I showed earlier, but you don't need to show all of those stuff here. Only these numbers, no? And there are other items that an investor would probably look at, like an NPV or IRR, which could be another slide that could be supporting this one. The important thing is your investors or the one that are seeing your deck is able to see how you get from 0 to a 5x or 10x sa imuhang journey. Ang journey may importante actually. Not the numbers are there to attract potential investors, but nonetheless what they very much looking after is how you would get from this point to that point. And remember that when they say yes to an investment, nabay anay due diligence nga buhaton pa after. So which means that's where all your sheets or income statement, balance sheet, cash flow will come in. I-review man nila na isa-isa. All right? So in terms of present it as simple as possible. Story should be linked from how you define the problem to the solution leading you towards this one. Why should I be investing in your business? I hope that answers the question, Sir Jones.
Yes. And follow up lang, what in terms of health, when you do the projections or indeed the actual startups, what can we say that the company or the startup is healthy? Because as you said, usually in the first year or first 2 years, we have negative net revenue. Yeah, it's understandable, but lisod na po kung 10 years na negative gihapon mo ha revenue na. So I mean, up to what year or what can we say that this is sustainable? Yeah.
Okay. On the average, good question. On the average, normally we do a 5-year projection, right? Because beyond 5 might be too long. There are venture capitalists who wanted to exit in 5 years' time. So they wanted to make sure na in 5 years, what you promised to me as an earning, dapat makuha na nako when I exit. So dapat sustainable na imong business. So 5 years is on the average. So initially, on the first 2 year, you might have some losses there in terms of bottom line because you're infusing so much expenses sa imuhang or capex sa imuhang negosyo. That's where critical kayo diha nga build nimo yung cash flow. You need to know where your sources of funds are coming from, right? But on the 3rd year, as you journey with it, dapat na kay mapakita nga traction on the 3rd and 4th year, leading towards your 5th year, where most of the VCs would exit. Angel investors a bit longer, more than 5 years. So depending on who you're pitching to, family, mga family business even longer, kay mas long term man ilang perspective. So there are different perspectives for investors depending on who you're pitching to. So a good 3 years to 5 years dapat na kay mapakita nga traction on the average.
So it's critical, always common. It's always common.
It's more or less common ang 3 to 5 years. But there are businesses, case in point, for example, I used to work with Globe Telecom before, and you know very well of GCash, right? GCash, ladies and gentlemen, before it became a unicorn, has been there for so many years, and it has been underwater for quite some time, no? Dugay siya. The good thing about it, it's backed by a very, very big company, the Ayala conglomerate, so Okera, because they believe na it has potential. And true enough, um, as early as, if I remember, as early as 2019, when the president and CEO has the directive na we shift into digital or data instead of the usual telco core business. That's also timing kay pagsulod sa pandemic. And automatically ready lang infrastructure, ready ang customers, nakasabot na sa the need, no? So that's why they have gained so much traction now, and then they're double unicorn in fact. So there are exception to the rule. Depende po kung kinsay gapak nga company. So it's good to have a healthy cash flow. By healthy cash flow, meaning in first 2 years, if you're on a negative, nagya po'y, you know, cash to bring your business, to keep it running. In other words, like any other business, it could be traditional, it could be startup. Cash flow is very critical.
Sir Bim, last, no? Would it be, what's the usually case? Do we do salaries for the founders?
Good
Or
question.
usually founders don't do salaries?
Good question.
Just to listen the operating expenses.
Very good question, no? That's one of the common thing that pops out, especially if you're a startup. We also asked that same question couple of years back, but it's important to, again, legalities, you need to declare one magod sa imuhang sa dole, at least one registered employee. Therefore, you need to have a salary declared for that co-founder who's going to be doing this full time. Purpose for that one is for legal purposes, right? So if you declare, just for example, basic minimum wage, so that will still give you what, about 10,000 to 15,000. But all the rest can have, there are other people who would do it via a vesting agreement. By vesting agreement, I mean, if lima mo nga founders, for example, i-define ninyo ang milestones that you wanted to achieve, defined ang roles ninyo pod. If you're CEO, COO, CTO, marketing, finance, clearly defined ang inyong mga roles and functions, and then the milestones that you need to achieve. Once you hit a certain milestone, the instead of your salaries nga gi-declare, pwede na siya i-convert into shares of stocks, kumbaga. Ana po siya. That's another way how other startups are also doing it. But yes, it's important to legit man nga negosyo, kinalanda nga na i-declare nga salaries actually. Just to answer your question straightforward.
Yeah, good.
So by the way, isa ka hurdle for most of the startups, they don't go through the legalities of you know, putting up your SEC requirement, your business permits, your certificate of registration to the BIR, sa DOLE, SSS, so on and so forth, just to avoid all of these things, right? But you're missing out the point. Like in our case, we cannot yet get funding from the government, especially with UST, because of eligibility. Lang mi og a few more months. You need to have at least 1 year in operations para for you to avail of the 5 million USD grant fund from PSHERD. There are also other funding agencies who would be needing at least 1 year in operations. So i-register ninyo ang negosyo ninyo. And not only that, makatabang po mo for nation building at the end of the day. And that will also hopefully put the motivation to scale your business. Kailangan gyud na revenues coming in. Dili lang mo fund dependent dapat. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be very challenging, but worth it at the end of the day, because you're solving a big problem, right? That's what we're here for. Jogs?
Yeah, yeah, very good answer. So I'm enjoying and looking forward to the next one. So
Yeah, ang ato siguro my suggestion moving forward is it's quite difficult to run a workshop
in 1 hour.
on Zoom, especially in 1 hour, right? So it would be best if there's a face-to-face. I don't mind, you know, at the end of the day, we're laying down the foundation kasi for potential startups to scale in CDO. Remember, our key objective here is, I think the key word is collaboration, no? So we wanted to collaborate with each other, build on our ecosystem. We're still number 3 nationwide in terms of startup ecosystem system, but others are catching up very fast. So we wanted na ma-retain natin or even move up further. Our unfair advantage here in the region is that we have a government, industry, academe na strong collaboration, which others don't have necessarily. And that's something that we can actually maximize on. So starting you guys as early as now, Technopreneurs, it's important to build on the basic foundations on finance. 3 financials. Dapat inyohan na siyang masabtan o gayo from income statement, cash flow, and balance sheet. Kanang tulo. And all the rest are just add-ons or gravy na lang na siya, no? Runways, mga cash burn rate, all of those stuff. Those are all related to those 3 financials. And yeah, we're looking forward to share more, no, to add value more to our techno students there. Would be very happy na daghan-daghan nga mo scale nga startups moving forward. Daghang salamat for the opportunity to share. I also run quick personal financial planning because I do believe na finance starts with you personally, right? If you don't do that sa imong kaugalingon, how much more sa imong negosyo? So if you enroll in programs like Founders Institute, founder ang ilahang focus, and I think kinasasa ko as an upcoming venture capitalist soon.
Wow.
I take a look at the founder. We invest in you because we believe in you, because you can do the business. Your idea might be very good, and yet ikaw mismo, you don't know how much to navigate your way through it because you don't have basic finance. That's another story. So we're here to help. We're here to give value, and looking forward to more time with you soon. Daghang salamat, Sir Jogs.
Thank you so much, Sir Bimbo. So at this point, may I request our technical staff to, of course, to please kindly, no please pa kindly, but kindly show our appreciation with our guest speaker. So allow me to read the citation. University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines Certificate of Appreciation is presented to Luzmar M. Gabor as resource leader for imparting his knowledge and expertise in the field of Startup Finance 101, navigating the financial landscape for entrepreneurship during the lecture series and pitching competition day 3 on November 20, 2023 via Zoom. His discussion has greatly helped the participants to understand Startup Finance 101 in the field of entrepreneurship. Given this 20th day of November 2023, signed Engineer Johannes Armando D. Pasua, Head Center for Entrepreneurship and Technology, signed Attorney Junel O. Albina, Chancellor, USDP Cagayan de Oro. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Would like
I'll be
to
sharing
ask-
with you.
Yes,
I'll be sharing
po.
with you the slides so you can have a review on it. No, so let me know how else I can be of help moving forward.
Thank you, sir
Thanks for your-
Bimbo.
Salamat, Jerry. Salamat, Sir Jogs. See you around.
Yes, your answer. As promised, right? We will have the part two.
No, no worries on part 2, part 3, sir. As long as
Yes.
we'll have more techno students, actually, that's our intent naman eh. For them to have the strong foundation as they build on their business.
Yeah.
Right?
So we thank you very much. No? I think this is one of the topics that very crucial for really students to really grasp, and you have presented it, Sir Bimbo, in a very simple manner that's very easy to grasp. And at least at this point, hopefully, students have now a sort of like a grassroots knowledge of where to start whenever they try to present the financial conditions of their startups. So at least they have something to put in the slides, and in a way that makakita ang help mo sa ilang startup. And as I said, the ask, what's the ask for our student startups? So again, thank you very much, sir. Truly, this has been a very uh, sort of a very impactful presentation. Even if it's quite a short time, pero you have nailed it in a way that's very clear and concise.
Thank you, thank you. See you around, guys.
Sir, can we have a quick photo opportunity, sir?
Sige, sir, sure, sure.
All right, so Ma'am Jaina, so 3, 2, 1. Please turn on your camera, guys. Yes. There you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I love this background. Makita na ang USTP, oh. Sir Jokes narada sa building.
Yes.
Thank you,
Present.
thank you, thank you.
So, regards sa Iloilo, sir.
Sure,
And the
sige,
GTI
sir.
Summit.
Go, go. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.